Welcome back to this quiz funnel workshop. My name is Ryan Levesque. I am your host, and this is our third session of this week-long quiz funnel workshop. I could not be more excited to welcome you back. We've covered so much ground in the last few days, and today we've got an incredibly exciting session planned here today. You want to make sure that you have dived into the chat that is on the page that we got right now, because we're going to have micro exercises, micro assignments, plenty of opportunities for engagement, some prizes that will be given away. The more you participate, the better chance you have to win. So with that being said, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's dive right in and let's do this. Once again, welcome back to our quiz funnel workshop. Quick recap on what we've covered up until this point. Day one of this workshop was all about the quiz funnel paradox. Day two of this workshop was all about the big idea behind your quiz. And today is the quiz funnel blueprint, where we take everything that we've talked about and go to the 30,000-foot view and look at all the little steps involved to create your quiz funnel step by step from start to finish. If you haven't done so already, I highly recommend that you go ahead and download the free resource that we have available to you here today. Again, on the screen, it is at the bottom of the page. It looks like this, Quiz Funnel Blueprint. Click download now. It will take you to a document that looks like this. You can download it, have it handy in your back pocket. We will be referring to this a few times along the way, but we've also got plenty of other stuff we're going to be covering in our time together here today. So go ahead and do that. As I've mentioned, we've got some prizes in store for you here today, and I'm going to be giving away a couple prizes right out of the gate. On day two of this quiz funnel workshop, we had an assignment, which was to come up with your top 4 ideas for your quiz and then post them inside our quiz funnel Facebook community. And we had hundreds of you who went ahead and did that using that hashtag MyBigIdea. So many different examples from Maurice here inside this, this post right here. Kenya here with the horse. I absolutely love it. You can see here, Peace, sharing your examples. We have Carl Erickson, loving these examples right here. We have, I think that's BD, sorry, the font is so small for me to read, I can barely read it right now. BD Warner. We have Lavinia, loving it right here, hiding so much mystery behind that notebook right there. Bogdan, top 4 big ideas. Well done, my friend. Vanessa, loving this work right there on the iPad. Rami, I love the imagery attached to that. That makes it a lot of fun. Marie Schlem, loving that beautiful smile there. Lacey, awesome job getting your work done. And Hari, so great work. Now, I mentioned to you that I'm going to give away a few prizes, and gosh, it was so hard to choose because so many brought it. You just got so much great work done. You went all out, but we chose as a team 3 of you who are going to be walking away with a few special prizes. The first prize is a signed first edition copy of my book, Choose. Hard copy. There are only a handful of these remaining first edition copies signed by yours truly that you'll be receiving from me to you directly to your mailbox. And our first prize winner is the one, the only, Ms. Sue Porter. Congratulations, Sue. You're going to be walking away with your very own signed copy of the book, Choose. Well done. Our second prize is going to be winning one of our limited edition, can't buy it, gotta earn it t-shirts, similar to the one that you see me wearing right here, right now today with our bucket gear. And this prize is going to none other than the one, the only, Saeed Mohammed. Congratulations, Saeed. Great work. Love the different images attached to these quiz ideas. Very, very well done. And our third prize of the day, winning a $100 Amazon gift card that you can use to do anything for you and in your business. And that is going to none other than the one, the only, Mr. Jeff Banks, and your partner in crime here. Apparently, we have a couple overachievers on our hands. 4 big ideas for 5 businesses. So that's 20 big ideas right there. Please join me inside the chat and share just a little bit of congratulations to our winners here today. Congratulations to Sue, to Saeed, to Jeff and your partner. Very well done. Awesome job. As a friendly reminder, if you did not win this time around, you still may have some prizes that we might be giving away a little bit later. If not today, a little bit later on. Stay tuned for that. All right, so with that being said, there are some additional homework submissions that I thought might be really valuable to give a little bit of feedback on. Because after all, I believe there's no better way to learn from than to learn from examples. So I have a few examples that I thought would be interesting to just hear my personal take and my sort of perspective on some of the big ideas that were shared. So we've got a couple more that we're going to do, and I thought it'd be helpful to hear what they are. Remember, if you have a nugget, if you have an insight, if you have an aha moment, if you have something that you learn in this process, use that hashtag nugget inside the chat. Let me know what your nugget is as we go through these examples. So the first one that I thought would be really cool to take a look at is Tafiq's example. So Tafiq, you can see here with all those great photos in the background, Tafiq is in the health and fitness space. You can see what Tafiq does here in his office. And his top 4 ideas are: what is your metabolic distress type? What is your metabolic physiotype? What is your metabolic health and vitality score? And what is your metabolic health score? Now, there's one here on this list that is the only one I would caution you away from, Tafiq, and that is number 3. What is your metabolic health and vitality score? And the reason for that is simple, and I see this happen all the time with Quiz Big Ideas. People get really excited about multiple concepts, and they try to combine them together into one: health and vitality. When you do that, remember what we talked about a little bit earlier in this workshop. A confused mind is a mind who doesn't take action. A mind that doesn't take action is a mind who doesn't buy. So generally speaking, we want to limit the big idea behind our quiz to one concept. So I'd pick one of those 2 ideas. Perhaps it's your vitality score. Perhaps it's your health score, but not both combined. So that's the first piece of feedback that I would share. Tafiq, otherwise, you're on your way, my friend. Well done on the exercise. Next is Joy White. Joy, love it. I am a recovering perfectionist myself, overachiever as well as are many of my ideal clients as well. I think we just, birds of a feather flock together. I don't know what it is. But I love the fact that you came up with so many great ideas and went through the effort of narrowing them down to the ones that you thought were better than the others. And so what I want to do is just highlight a few that I thought were the most powerful based on what you've got. And if you can't read the font on the screen, I'll read the highlighted ones one by one. So we've got quiz. What's your number 1 joy killer? Quiz. What's your self-care score? Quiz. What's your self-care superpower? Quiz. What's your self-care blind spot? And quiz. What's your burnout profile? Now, if there was one and only one that I had to choose on this list, so we're going to do things in a little bit of a different way. In Tafiq's example, I shared one that I would remove from the list. Here, I'm going to share the one that, for me, stands out head and shoulders above the rest. And that one, for me, is very clearly, what is your self-care blind spot? And here's the reason why. The reason why is that, to me, is the one that has the most curiosity attached to it. It's the one that leaves me leaning in, wanting to learn more. It is one that I can see the copy leading into the quiz writing itself. If you're like most people, then you probably are aware that self-care is incredibly important. But if you're busy, if you're an overachiever, if you're pushing the envelope every step along the way, oftentimes there are areas of our lives that we don't realize require attention, that require self-care. We call these self-care blind spots. They're things that creep up on us that we don't even realize we should be paying attention to. And oftentimes when they happen in such a way that catches us off guard. It can actually shut us down. Now, it's so important to understand what your blind spot might be that I developed this free assessment that you can take to figure out what your number 1 self-care blind spot is, absolutely free. In fact, all you need to do is just answer a few simple questions, click the button below, and I'll see you in just a moment with what your number 1 self-care blind spot is and what to do about it minutes from this very moment. So see how it just rolls off? See how it just lands so beautifully? So in your case, Joy, that's the one that, for me, gets my vote. But we're going to talk a little bit about how you know which one to go with a little bit later in today's training when we talk about how you prioritize and decide which of your big ideas to go with. All right, so I hope that those few insights have been helpful. If you've gotten a nugget along the way, remember, use that hashtag nugget inside the chat. Go ahead and post it inside the chat. And let me know what your biggest nugget has been from looking at these examples and getting a little bit of insight and going through the process of completing your homework. All right, so as you go ahead and do that, I want to kick things off by quickly recapping what we've touched on up until this point to bring us to this very moment in time. In day 1 of this workshop, we started with the basics. We answered the question, what is a quiz funnel? We talked about how a quiz funnel is not a quiz. It's not one of those time-wasting quizzes that you may have seen online on a website like BuzzFeed.com or those WordPress plugins where you can take a quiz. It has nothing to do with that. Yes, some of the psychology is the same, but what you're doing here is when someone lands on your website, you're engaging them with a conversation. You're using this conversation in the form of a quiz, in the form of an assessment, to better understand who they are, so you can diagnose and prescribe the best next step. We looked at examples of quiz funnels in action, like the Dad Superpower quiz. You even had an opportunity to take one of our quizzes, take thefunnelquiz.com, and see what a real-life quiz funnel looks like in action. We talked about why now and why quiz funnels have never been more effective and more necessary to succeed in the digital world that we live in here today. We talked about the Edelman Trust Barometer, and the default state of the world is in a state of distrust for the first time in history. That state of distrust led to people feeling more and more skeptical and more sensitive about their privacy online. This led to the privacy wars between Apple and Facebook, as well as companies like Google and beyond getting roped into a change in the way that online advertising, online marketing takes place here today. It led to the release of Apple's operating system, iOS 14.5, which for the first time ever gave users the choice to decide if they wanted their data to be shared with third parties. Overnight, this cut Facebook and Google off at the knees and limited the amount of data that they have access to. The advertising paradigm that's dominated the internet for the last 10 years has shifted. We've moved from this world where we used to be able to rely on third-party data, targeting on Facebook, targeting on Google, to now requiring us to have a zero-party data strategy, i.e. one where we ask questions and get information that's voluntarily and explicitly shared with us on our website. Simply put, in this new iOS 14-15 world, you must have a way to target and segment customers that relies 100% on capturing your own zero-party data. And that is where the quiz funnel comes in. We talked about how quiz funnels work for virtually any type of product, any type of business, from physical e-commerce, digital courses, memberships and training, affiliate marketing, getting clients for coaches, consultants, freelancers, and more, lead generation, running webinars, launches for complete beginners, starting a brand new business from scratch, and virtually in every language, as you can see here on the screen. We talked about the results and proof of literally thousands of entrepreneurs who are already using this technology and methodology in their business. How we've helped over 12,000 funnels get constructed. How we have over 30 million people taking quizzes on our platform alone, and how we in our business have sold over $62 million in just the last few years on the back of quiz funnels ourselves. We talked about the 5 types of businesses that work for quiz funnels, from e-commerce, physical product businesses like selling bicycles, $22,000 in less than a week. Digital products like courses, memberships, and software, like this teacher who was able to quit her job, go to teaching saxophone online, making over $150,000 a year on the back of her saxophone quiz funnel. We talked about coaches, consultants, agency owners, and freelancers, like this coach, a young mom from Ireland who makes $17,000 a week on the back of her coaching quiz funnel. We talked about local small businesses in local geographic areas in all corners of the world using quiz funnels. Like, for example, Greg Lee, who's a former NASA engineer who opened up his own medical facility helping people with Lyme disease, who uses a quiz funnel to generate over $17,000 a month in new revenue for his local brick and mortar business. We talked about lead generation, like, for example, in this case here, Jody Hoffman Daniels, who built a consulting business from scratch on the back of her quiz funnel, going from zero to over $1 million a year. We talked about complete beginners and the 3 fastest paths to cash, building a pre-launch quiz, using a quiz to create a line of people out the door before you launch your business or product, so that way you can launch with a bang. Just like Dr. Tangi Watkins, who launched her coaching practice on the back of a quiz, $20,000 in her very first month ever. We talked about selling somebody else's product as an affiliate, not even creating your own product, just like Jeff and Mark do in their business. And we talked about building quizzes for other people, just like Adam does. Adam, in his very first project, went through this workshop, went through our paid training, got support from us and our team and our technology, first client ever, sells his quiz for over $10,000. Then we talked about the 3 reasons why quiz funnels are so effective. Reason number 1, incredibly cheap leads, and how you can cut your cost per lead anywhere from 30 to 90% or more. We talked about reason number 2, incredibly high conversion, how you can double or even triple your sales conversion rate. And we talked about reason number 3, incredibly fast results. Because quizzes are interactive, people engage with them right away, so they're not like an ebook that sits on the shelves or in a folder somewhere collecting dust. People engage with them right away, so you can get results almost immediately after launching. We talked about the 3 steps to creating every successful quiz funnel: attract, diagnose, and prescribe. We talked about the 3 quiz frameworks: the type quiz, like the proactive skin type quiz; the killer quiz, like the golf swing killer quiz by Justin Tupper; and the score quiz, like the success alignment score by Dr. Tanji Watkins, all following that attract, diagnose, prescribe paradigm. And this is the same process that quite literally thousands of entrepreneurs around the world are using to build the business of their dreams, to scale their impact and scale their income at the same time. From Jamal Miller, who went from $17 an hour to $500,000 a year, to Neil Gordon, who went from driving for Lyft to making $100,000 a month, to Charlie Wallace, who was living in the back of his car, started teaching guitar online through his quiz funnel, and is now making over $2.2 million a year. And people like Dana Abraham, a mom of 3 kids, who built a business helping outside-the-box kids who have traditionally failed in the traditional school system, but now have thrived through her teaching and her work in the back of her child behavior type quiz, which makes over $1,254 a day. The bottom line is this: quiz funnels not only help you better sell in virtually any market, any industry, any language, any product around the world, but they also help you better serve your clients at the same time. And before we kick things off here today, I thought it would be great to hear from yet another story of someone who is in the very same situation, the very same shoes that you are in right now. Someone who was stuck, hitting a roadblock, hitting a hurdle in their business, who wanted to get to that next level. And the quiz funnel was the thing that changed everything. That woman that I just mentioned, Dana Abraham, who helps parents with outside-the-box kids, she's someone whose life was completely changed when she went through this process. So I thought it would be inspiring to hear in her words what this has done for her and the results. So with that being said, let's take it away.
I spent basically the first 7 years of my parenting life feeling like I was failing. I had gone to school for education. I knew child development. I knew kids. I loved kids. And my favorite kids in my classroom were the kids that had a hard time. And then when I had my own son, and he was amazing until he went to school. And then once he got to school, other people didn't see the amazing kid that I saw. I didn't want anyone else to feel the way I felt. And I didn't want any other kid to go through what my child was going through. My oldest son is a very special and amazing super kid, but he's on the spectrum and he can have really difficult behaviors, and it can be unpredictable. And so he was kicked out of preschool, and he was kicked out of church camp. We sent him to a robot camp, which he loved robots, and he got kicked out of robot camp. Nobody could understand him. Nobody knew how to connect with him so that he could be successful. When I started searching for homeschool information, everything looked perfect. Everyone knew exactly how to do what they were supposed to do. And I thought, there's no way that life is this perfect for all homeschoolers. And so I decided I'm gonna start a blog, and I'm just gonna share the good days, the bad days, and magically people wanted to hear the stories of it's not perfect. And so my audience started growing pretty quickly, almost immediately. It wasn't until I wrote a blog post that was about how to create this at-home sensory toolkit, I started getting email after email after email. And they were like, well, where do I buy this bag? I'm like, well, you don't. You put it together on your own. That's how the internet works. And they didn't want that. They wanted me to create them this bag of goodies. And it was the first time that we ever thought, is this a business? Is this something we should be doing? And so we kept coming up with new products and new ideas until I got myself kind of in a mess. And we had lots of products and lots of different things going everywhere. So we were at a place in our business where we felt successful, and so it gave us kind of this false sense of security. On the books, it looked amazing. We were living the American dream, but we were still paycheck to paycheck. I felt like it was gonna fall apart every single month. When the books went back to zero, that's what brought me to looking for more answers, is there's gotta be something I'm missing. There just has to be. I think if we hadn't found Ask Method, we would have probably folded. Our conversion rate on our sales pages was like probably under 1%. While I had this large community of people, I wasn't able to predict what was gonna convert with them. I had built an entire business out of sticks and not a business out of bricks. We sent out a survey, we analyzed the responses, we made all of our buckets, and then we planned the webinar. I had never made a webinar in my life, but I knew the steps to take. We closed the webinar with 20% conversion rate, and that's the biggest difference since Ask Method. Now we actually have money in savings, and we're planning how we're going to invest in the business more. And we've had our first launch where it feels like, okay, now we just have to build on that. That's scalable. We can do that again. I was thinking this is magic. I never dreamed that as a mom, I could stay home with my kids, retire my husband from his corporate job, and grow this amazing and flourishing business. But yet here I am, and it's absolutely amazing to step back and see what we've accomplished and the possibilities of where our journey is going to take us. When I meet adults and I tell them what I do, one of the first things that so many of them say is, "Where were you when I was a kid?" And that's how I know I'm on the right track. When I look at my son, I see so much hope that he's gonna get to do what he wants to do, have whatever job or career or create anything that he wants, and he's not gonna feel like he doesn't have what it takes. And I just feel incredibly hopeful and happy, and I can't help but smile just thinking about his future. And that's a good feeling.
I hope Dana's story warms your heart as much as it warms mine. And nothing would warm my heart more than to be able to feature you as the next great success story at this time next year. And that all starts right here, right now, today. Because we're going to be unpacking the Quiz Funnel Blueprint, the process of creating one of these quiz funnels from start to finish, and the process that we go through whenever we work with a client or student like Dana, or any of the other clients or students that you've been hearing about this past week. I want to walk you through that process so you can follow this roadmap of starting from where we are right now to the finish line. So today we are going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about the big picture of how all the pieces fit together. We're going to take a look inside the technology as well a little bit later. But first, I want to draw your attention to my notes. As I mentioned here, I encourage you to take something that you can use to use some handwritten notes, because I'm going to be walking you through the roadmap to success, the blueprint as I see it, the blueprint as we follow here in our business whenever we work with someone to create a quiz funnel and build a business off of that quiz funnel step by step. So we call this the Quiz Funnel Blueprint. And you can see here in my notes, that is the title of our conversation here today. Now, when it comes to the first step in the process, we've got to begin at the beginning. If you were on the Q&A yesterday or earlier this week, I said something about your message. And where does that message come from? That message must come from your market. The message comes from your market, not from your mind. So the first place that we start is with a deep understanding of your market, to understand what it is that your market wants. And there are certain key attributes of a successful market. And when we're working with a client or student, we want to make sure that the market that you've chosen checks off the all-important boxes. We call the first box the 5 market must-haves, 5 attributes that every successful market, whether you're building a quiz funnel or not, has in common. Now, we've identified these attributes based on all of the success that we've had in our business. Remember, before launching this business of teaching and training and providing the technology for building quiz funnels, I myself had the experience, the bumps and bruises, the scrapes, the pains, the injuries of going into 23 different weird and wonderful niche markets. So I learned a lot in that process. I learned a lot going from nothing to $25,000 a month in my first business, to building my first $1 million a year business, my first $10 million a year business, and then transferring that process and now working with thousands of entrepreneurs to walk that same path. I've quite literally summited the mountain thousands of times and taken thousands of people to the top. And one of the things that we found is that there are 5 must-haves that every successful market must have. And as I go through these 5 market must-haves, I want to encourage you to think about your market and think about how your market stacks up. Beginning with market must-have number 1. Market must-have number 1 is what we call an evergreen market. An evergreen market is a market that is here today, but it's also going to be here 10 years from now. It's not a market that is at risk of disappearing overnight. I learned this lesson the hard way, painfully, when I started my very first business in the Scrabble tile jewelry business. It was an Etsy business, if you could believe it, back in 2007. My very first business that we launched, Tylene and I, on the back of Etsy, teaching people how to make Scrabble tile jewelry with Scrabble tiles and origami paper. And what I learned along the way was that that market was a fad. It was here for, less than a year, and then overnight it practically disappeared. So you want a market that's evergreen, a market that's not at risk of disappearing overnight. Next up is you want to ideally seek out an enthusiast market. An enthusiast market is a market in which people buy more than one product in that same market, i.e. you can sell more than one thing to one person. The dog market is a great example. If you think about the dog market, if you've got a furry friend at home, think about all the things that you need to purchase for that furry friend. You've got doggy toys, doggy food, doggy bowls, doggy leashes, doggy Christmas ornaments, doggy clothes, all sorts of doggy elements that you bring into your home. You become a buyer in that market because it's an enthusiast market. You don't buy one and done, like, for example, a flooded basement repair. In that market, you're a customer once and hopefully, knock on wood, only once. The dog market, you could be a customer for life. You want a market that has that parameter yourself, an enthusiast market. Next up, you want a market that is an evergreen enthusiast market that has a set of urgent problems that people must solve. In the dog market, an example of that would be if you bring a new puppy home, what happens to that puppy before you've potty trained him? The puppy pees on the rug, right? Pees on the carpet, pees on the rug, pees on the floor. That's the definition of an urgent problem that you want to solve right away. It's a problem that keeps people up at night, that they can't sleep because they need to solve. So you want to ideally have an urgent problem. Other people have described it as a bleeding neck problem, something that must be solved right away. Next, you ideally want to have a market that also has future problems as well. Not just the problem that you're solving for people right away, but a whole host of other problems that you can help people with. Ideally, problems that once you help them solve this burning, urgent initial problem, it leads to the success of that issue, which then subsequently results in other challenges that must be solved. Taking the dog example, once you've potty trained your puppy, what's the next thing you need to learn how to do? To train your puppy how to walk on a leash, to train your puppy to come when he or she is called, to train your puppy not to bark and not to bite and play nice with strangers and play nice with other dogs. So there are a whole host of future problems in that market that represent a great market. And last but not least, the 5th market must-have is what we call PWMs, which stands for players with money. Look, you can't sell to broke people. None of us can. If someone in your market cannot put food on the table, cannot pay for their mortgage, cannot pay for their bills, it doesn't matter how amazing your product or service is, they're not going to be able to pay for it. So you want people who not only have money, but who have proven to spend money in that area of their life. It doesn't mean that you need to sell to millionaires and billionaires by any stretch of the imagination, but you want to find a market where people have proven to spend a disproportionate amount of their income in that area of their life. Once again, the dog market's a great example. Think about the people in your life who are so attached to their furry friends that they would do anything for their dog. They might pay for doggy surgery. They might pay for doggy daycare. They might pay for the most expensive doggy organic food that money can buy that's fit for a human to eat, but they might make sacrifices in other areas of their life. That's a definition of a PWM, players with money. So 5 market must-haves. It's a good starting point to make sure that your market checks off these boxes. Now, if you have a market that only checks off 3 of these boxes, it's what we call a red light market, a market that you want to be careful about going into. If you've got a market that checks off 4 of these boxes, it's a yellow light market, proceed with caution. And if you've got a market that checks off all 5 of these boxes, it means that you're good to go and you are ready to rock. Now, if you have a market that is yellow or red, oftentimes you can find a market within your market or a subset of your market that is a green light market. And that's one of the things that when we work with our clients and our students, we help you with that process to identify what profit pool within your market best represents the greatest chance for success. Next up, we have to do a few tests to make sure that your market is great. One of those tests is what we call the bullseye keyword test. Another test is what we call the Google test to make sure that people are actively searching for information and solutions around this problem. Next is the Amazon test, where we want to make sure that people are actually buying products and services in the area that you support people in. And then we want to get a sense for market size. We want to see, where is the opportunity? Is this a tiny, eensy-weensy market, or is this a big, giant market? And the goal is to find what we call a sweet spot. We call this both the market size sweet spot and the market competition sweet spot. You want a market that has some competition, because some competition is a good thing. It proves that someone else is making money in your space. If nobody else is making money doing what you are trying to do, chances are you're not going to be successful either. One of my mentors once told me, Ryan, pioneers get shot, settlers get rich. And really what that means is, don't try to be the pioneer, follow in somebody else's footsteps. That's what every single one of the most successful companies in the world have done. Take Google, for example. Google was not the first search engine, but they followed in the footsteps of other businesses that blazed the trail, and they built a better mousetrap. So you want to have some competition in your market. From a size perspective, you want a market that's not too big, not too small, but somewhere in the middle. And we have a series of tests that we use to help evaluate your market. Now, if you're listening to this right now and you're saying, but wait, I already have a market, do I need to go through this process? No. If you have a successful business right now that you're just looking to take to the next level, you've checked this box off. You're good to go. You can move on to the next step. But if you're in a situation right now where you're still trying to decide what business to go into, what market to choose, this is where we first start. So I'm going to pause right here, this first little section of content. What is your single biggest nugget from this market section right here? It could be anything at all. It could be about the market sweet spot, competition sweet spot. It could be pioneers get shot, settlers get rich. It could be the 5 market must-haves. What is one micro takeaway that you can take away from this process as you take a moment to just kind of consolidate everything that we just covered in your brain as we attack this at a high level? Now, we could go much, 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 much deeper on just this one thing. That's not the purpose of today. Today's purpose is to give you a view of the big picture so you can see all the pieces. And then you can decide if you want to take this and try to implement it on your own, or if you want to work together with me and our team to do it together. So first takeaway, first nugget from this little section, post it inside the chat. I'll read a few off and I'll take a quick sip of water here. Love it. Nugget, this makes a lot of sense. Nugget, PWMs. Nugget, future problems. Nuggets, our main market is green. Nugget, PWMs. The market must-haves. Market must-haves. 5 must-haves. Do your research first. Yes, 5 bucket must-haves. 5 market must-haves. Sweet spot indeed. Pioneers versus settlers. Love it. Beautiful. Enthusiast market. Find a market with problems now and in the future. Beautiful. All right, so it all starts with the market. The message should come from your market, not from your mind. So we start with, where is the market already? And then from there, we proceed to come up with a big idea, a hook, that will attract people in this market to your quiz and subsequently to your product. So we have a set of steps that we follow to come up with your hook. And we started down this path in yesterday's training, in day 2, where we talked about the big idea behind your quiz. First, coming up with your topic, right? And the different ideas for coming up with your topic. Questions that people are always asking. Is this a possibility? How about something that people care or insanely curious about knowing? Anything that's in the media right now that's really hot. Myths and misconceptions in your market. Something that represents a huge opportunity for loss or gain. And then from there, we talked about identifying the right framework for you. And we talked about the 3 types of quizzes: type, killer, and score. And which one's right for you? If you help organize people into different categories, perhaps type. If you help people identify a mistake in their life, perhaps killer. And if you help people along a journey, perhaps score. Those aren't hard and fast rules, but those are just guidelines to consider. And then last but not least, once you've narrowed down your top 4 ideas, when we work with clients, one of the things that we then do is then go through a testing protocol to figure out which of those ideas is most likely to be the winner. So first things first, once you've identified your top few ideas, we go through a testing process before we build the quiz. This ensures that your quiz is going to be successful before you put the time, effort, and energy into creating it, designing it, and building it. This is what sets you up for success. This is how you have such a high success rate when you follow this process, as opposed to doing what most people do, which is they come up with an idea and they say, I'm going to try it. Let's do it. So we test before we build. We choose our top performing quiz, and then we go forth and we build it once we've decided and determined which one is the winner of our top ideas. Next up, we get clear on our offer. And we identify very clearly what it is that we're going to sell. If we have an existing product right now, if this is our situation, then we're going to decide, are we selling an e-commerce product, digital information products, a client service, a local business? Are we using lead generation, or are we doing some combination of these? You might have a quiz where one outcome leads to a digital product, but another outcome leads to your coaching service. Or you might have a local business where you help people, maybe you sell a local honey or jam, and you have to decide, are you bringing someone into your storefront with a coupon, or are you selling them an e-commerce product, perhaps at some other location in the world? So first is your offer. Then, if you don't have an offer right now, we get clear on which beginner fastest path to cash is right for you. If you're thinking about creating something, or you've got plans to create something, perhaps it makes sense to use a pre-launch quiz, a quiz that you can use to create a line of people ready to buy your products before you launch. Perhaps if you have no interest in creating your own products, an affiliate quiz might make more sense. Or if you're looking to learn as you earn and learn at the same time, maybe it makes sense to create a quiz for a client, to find just a single business, one business that you can build a quiz for somebody else and charge money to be successful doing that, to pay for your training, to pay for your technology, to learn as you earn. And in the second session of this workshop, I gave you access to a calculator that many of you have been reaching out to us saying, oh my gosh, that was super, super, super helpful. And in case you missed it, that calculator looks a little something like this right here. And it's a calculator that you can use to determine what the profit potential is for your quiz, using some of the metrics that we talked about, like for example, getting leads at a cost of 30 to 90% cheaper, getting results 5 to 25 times faster, getting conversion rate 2 to 3 times higher than what most people get with their traditional, old, now outdated funnel, and replace that with a new, modern, responsive quiz funnel. And you can see here, selling just a $50 product, what a quiz funnel can mean for you, getting results that are not atypical relative to the ones that we've looked at. Going from literally making $0 in your business to making as much as $10,000 per month, just with this little example right here, which translates in and of itself into a 6-figure income. And that's profit, not revenue. That's money in your pocket. After creating this client's calculator, not that long ago, the feedback that you shared was so positive, we decided to create a second calculator. This calculator is going to help you determine what the profit potential is for you to create quizzes for other clients. So let's check this out. Now, you might be saying, I don't know if I've got interest in creating quizzes for other people. What I can tell you from experience is that 80% of people who go through this process fall in love with it in such a way and say, this wasn't something that I was ever intending on doing for somebody else, but now that I've gone through it once, perhaps for my own business, I might be interested in helping somebody else. So I want to show you what's possible when you go ahead and do this. And if you bear with me 1 second, I'll share with you, for those of you who missed the first day that we spent here together, I shared with you in my own personal journey, one of the ways that I learned and got skilled in the art of designing and creating quiz funnels was becoming a quiz builder for other companies. And I would charge anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000 up front, plus $5,000 a month or more in a monthly retainer, plus a 5% royalty on gross sales of every quiz funnel that I helped develop. And what that royalty meant was that for every dollar I could help my clients make, my clients would pay me a nickel. Well, you might say, that's not a lot. A nickel for every dollar that you help your clients make? Well, when you help your clients make enough dollars, the nickels start to add up. And so over time, my royalties would represent anywhere from $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month on some of the smaller quiz funnels that I'd built, to upwards of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month or more on some of the larger quiz funnels that I'd built. And this was mailbox money. This was quite literally checks landing in my mailbox for funnels that I had built months and years prior. In fact, I still get royalty payments on funnels that I built 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago and more, because they continue to perform and they continue to be successful. When I started teaching this to a small group of our inner circle clients, we started seeing all sorts of success, people getting results, creating quizzes for other clients. I shared the story of Adam and how in his very first client ever, he charged over $10,000 to create that quiz. I shared the story of Marvin, 62 years old, who's now building quiz funnels for anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 per quiz or more. Well, I want to share with you the profit potential for you, for those of you who are still trying to figure out what path might be right, or if you're looking for perhaps another way to generate additional income in your business. So as I mentioned, right now, we have people that are charging anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 or more to create a quiz funnel. But I wouldn't recommend necessarily charging that in your very first attempt out of the gate. So let's take some relatively modest numbers and take a look at what this might look like. So for example, if we go on a monthly basis and we say, actually I'm going to go this on an annual basis. If we go on an annual basis here down below, and we say that you create a quiz funnel for a client. Let's say you create one client, you get one client, just one business. Maybe it's a business in your town, maybe it's somebody that you know, maybe it's someone that you think could use help. And instead of charging $25,000 to build the quiz for that client, you just do it for $5,000. $5,000. It's a huge win-win, right? You're offering a discount to your client, you're putting some money in your pocket, and you're getting some experience along the way. So $5,000 for a single client quiz funnel, as you can see right here. That's $5,000, right? That's not, huge amount of money, but it's not, nothing either. Well, when you add a monthly retainer on top of that upfront fee, let's say that monthly retainer, you say it's $1,000 a month for you to continue maintaining, optimizing, working with the funnel over time after the initial creation and build out. That's the model that I used when I was building funnels for clients. Well, all of a sudden, that one client turns into a $17,000 income over the course of the year. And let's say, for example, you're able to negotiate a royalty on the results that you help this client get. And let's say you help this client make, $10,000 a month on the back of the client's quiz. And let's say you're able to negotiate a 5% royalty. That's standard, by the way, and that's the most common royalty that I received when I was doing this work for clients. You can see here, all of a sudden, this becomes a $23,000 per year revenue source, and this is with just a single client. Well, now let's say, for example, you start scaling, and you go from one client to 5. That's one client every other month for the next 6 months. You go from one client to 5, all of a sudden you are making 6 figures. 5 clients, 5 quiz funnels, that's it. Now, let's say we fast forward a little bit. You start getting more experience, you start getting better, you start getting more results. Well, now you can start charging more money for the work that you do. Maybe instead of charging $5,000, you, like Marvin and some of our other quiz builders, go through the process and say, you know what? I'm going to start charging $15,000 to create a quiz. And instead of charging $1,000 a month for your retainer, you charge $2,500 a month for your retainer. Now, all of a sudden, you're making $250,000 per year. Again, with just 5 clients. But let's say you want to scale that. You want to take that to not just 5 clients, but you want to double that. You want to get aggressive. You want to say, I want to do 10 clients. Now, all of a sudden, you're doing $500,000 a year. By the way, when I did this, I had at any given time around 20 to 25 clients when I was doing this. And let's say now that you've gotten a little bit better, you start working with bigger clients, you start helping them get bigger results. So instead of helping your clients make on average $10,000 a month, you're helping them make on average $100,000 a month, and there you go. Now you're making over $1 million a year in profit building quizzes for other people. When I shared with you the story of how I built a $1 million a year consulting business with no employees, with no overhead, just me, myself, helping other clients build quiz funnels, this right here is the path. So I'm showing you the numbers because I know for some of you, when you're making an investment in yourself, you're thinking about making an investment in yourself, in your education, in the right technology, the right training, the right support. It can help to see that path ahead. Whether that's building quizzes for other clients and being on a path to make as much as $1 million a year or more, or selling your own product and doing it on the back of a quiz, making 6, 7 figures or more in profit using this approach. All right, so with all that said, by now, hopefully you've got clarity on what product you're going to be selling, or if you're going to be using one of the fastest paths to cash, which one is right for you. Next, let's take a look at how we introduce that offer on the back of your quiz. So in the second session that we had together, we introduced a concept called Band-Aid Cure. Band-Aid Cure basically works like this. First, you need to identify what is the Band-Aid that you're going to be offering to people when they take your quiz. The thing that you give to people for free. The exchange of value you provide to someone in exchange for giving you their email address. From there, you identify what is your cure. The next step, the paid program, the paid product or service that you're going to be delivering to your prospect. And we also talked about if you're going to be using what we call perceived or pure customization. Perceived customization is where everybody is introduced to the same product or service, but we're positioning that product or service in a different way. We're talking about different features and benefits. We're talking about different success stories. We're talking about different case studies. We're talking about different elements. It is perceived customization. Or are you selling different products to different people? In which case, you're going to be using pure customization, where you sell multiple products. So that's the next decision point to make. From there, you've got to get clear on the price point of the product that you are going to be selling. Are you selling something that is less than $100? Or are you selling something that is over $100,000? Or are you somewhere in between when we look at this sort of dial right here? And then based on that information, that's going to help determine what the best next step is for you after someone takes your quiz. If you're just getting people to join your list or your group and it's for free, then that might make a lot of sense. If you're looking to get people to buy your product or service that's less than $100, you might want to just take them to a page with text on it, copy on it, where they can buy your product right then and there. If you're selling something that's a little bit more expensive, you may need to invite people to watch your sales video after they go through your quiz and get your results. If you're selling something that's at a perhaps higher price point or something that requires a little bit more education, you might want to get people and invite people to attend a webinar. And last but not least, if you're selling something in the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, you probably are going to need to talk to that human being on the phone in the form of a one-on-one phone appointment, whether that's on Zoom or over the telephone. So you want to get clear on which option makes the most sense for you based on what it is that you're selling, and then from there, connect the pieces together in a way that converts. From here, we've got to get clear on your quiz questions. First things first, what are the number of outcomes you're going to be putting people into? So as you think about your quiz, how many buckets are you steering people into? And then from there, how many questions are you going to be asking? We talked about the optimal number of questions between 5 and 12, but what scenario is right for you? From there, we've got to answer questions like, what is the optimal question sequence? So what's the right sequencing of your questions? What's the optimal question length? So how long should your question be? What's the optimal number of answers for each question? And remember, because we've built over 12,000 quiz funnels, we have access to over 200 million data points in our software technology. We know at any given moment what the optimal number of each of these metrics is at any given time. From there, we're going to decide, are we going to be using what's called outcome mapping to connect people together and to create that algorithm on the back end? Are we going to be using scoring logic to put people into different buckets? Are we going to be using branching logic, moving people down different paths based on their different questions and different answers? Are we going to be using skipping logic to allow people to skip certain questions when they go down certain paths? So we've got to get very clear on our both questions that we're asking and the question architecture itself, which is the next step in the process. From there, we got to get clear on which questions we're going to be asking to tick off these boxes. What's going to be your grease the wheels question? What's that question that's going to get people to take the quiz and get started? What are your diagnosis questions? What questions are you going to be asking to, like a doctor, figure out what outcome someone's going to land in? What demographic questions are you going to be asking? Questions that are going to help you better understand and round out your understanding of that prospective customer. And what about these story arc questions? The questions that lead to the conversation, that just smooth everything out. The questions that serve as the segues between everything else. And then last but not least, as you're asking these questions, you want to make sure that you're looking at the layers involved that are required to be successful with a quiz funnel. Are your questions creating desire and demand for the product that you sell? Are you using disqualification techniques to make sure that only the right people are coming your way? Are you using real-time lead scoring to figure out which prospects are the ones to spend the most time with, the ones that are most likely to be buyers, so that you can triage your attention and your effort? From there, it's all about creating the pages that are going to go both before and after the quiz. So the pages that are before and after the quiz are what we call the landing page or welcome page. This is the page that frames your quiz, introduces it, that sets the stage, that sets the context, the page that inspires people and motivates people to start your quiz in the first place. Now, there are a number of templates that we use that represent best practices, and there are elements on this page that are optimized to get the most number of people taking your quiz. From there, we have what's called the lead capture page. This is a page that runs the risk of people leaving your quiz because you haven't sufficiently articulated the value to get people to actually go forth and take your quiz. They bail at this step because they don't see the value in what it is that you're offering. This is a place where a lot of people struggle and fall down. But once again, they're best practices, they're optimized templates, they're optimized elements that you want to include that give you the greatest chance of success. And then last but not least is your outcome page, the page that you're sending to people after they take your quiz, where you deliver the results. Are you delivering the results via video? Are you delivering the results via text? Are you doing a combination? And how do you make that decision? The reality is it depends on your market, your offer, your product, your prospect, but there's a decision-making framework to get the answers to all of these questions. And based on that information, you'll decide which template combination is right for you and your business. Just like the templates that you saw a few days ago when we showed you some of the templates that you can choose from when it comes to building a quiz in the Bucket.io software. From there, next up, we focus on follow-up. One of the most important pieces of follow-up is that you give people a high-value quiz report, whereby you articulate people's results, articulate people's outcomes, so that way you can deliver value. Again, it's not enough to give people a fake quiz. Fake quizzes will fail. If you want to be building a fake quiz, this is not the right place for you. This is doing things with integrity. This is doing things the right way. This is not about cutting corners. This is about when someone goes through your process, you deliver true value to them. You are pouring goodwill into the market. You are delivering as much value as you can so that the reaction that they have is, oh my gosh, if I'm getting this for free, imagine what it's like working with you in a paid environment. That's what this is all about, and this sets the stage. But the quiz report needs to be designed a very specific way, and we have a template, a format for doing that very thing. And then from there, we're going to decide how are we following up. in all the different channels that we can follow up. And we've got two different audiences of people. We've got people who buy from you right away on the back of your quiz, and then you also have people who don't buy from you right away. Because the quiz will convert some people immediately, but on average, people need to hear a message 7 times before they're ready to buy. Repetition is your friend. You've heard me in this week repeat certain concepts for a reason. People forget. We need to hear things in different ways, from different voices, from different perspectives. Repetition is your friend, and the fortune is in the follow-up. And that's why we follow up. But we follow up with people not in a one-size-fits-all way. We follow up with people based on their specific combination of questions and answers that they provide to us inside the quiz through a combination of different channels, like email, like text message threads, through places like Messenger, and through remarketing, which is when you're serving the right content, the right ads, the right material and messaging to people based on the way they've answered your quiz. And I'm going to show you an example of that a little bit later here today when we take a peek inside the technology and how you may have experienced this yourself in just the last few days. So once we've gotten clear on our follow-up strategy, the actual tactical collateral we're using, the channels that we're going to be focusing on, the strategy and the architecture for putting it all together, then we need to get clear on our traffic strategy. How are we getting people to the quiz in the first place? And there are a few decision points that we need to make. First and foremost is, where are we going to be driving traffic? Are we going to be focusing on Facebook? Are we going to be focusing on Google? Are we going to be focusing on Instagram? Are we going to be focusing on YouTube? Are we going to focus on LinkedIn? Are we going to be using affiliate marketing and other partnerships and other businesses and leverage other people's audiences? Are we going to use the power of email? Are we going to be doing organic marketing and putting our content out there in an organic way? Or are we going to be doing something else altogether? We want to have clarity first and foremost on the channels that we are going to be starting with. And what's going to be our primary channel to launch? Where are we going to begin? Because one of the things that I've learned is that it's all about focus, putting the blinders on to everything else. There are a million ways to make $1 million in this world. You've got to pick one, and you've got to go all in. And so when you're ready to go all in and you're ready to focus, this is what it takes to be successful. So you pick that channel that's going to be your go-to-market channel so that you can design your quiz, optimize your quiz, have success, and you can scale and expand from there. We get clear on things like your audience targeting, the keywords that you're focusing on, the placements that you're going to be attaching. What ad formats are we going to be starting with? Are you going to be starting with video? Are you going to be starting with image ads, short text, long text, or a combination of the above? And just like everything that we do in our business, everything is systematized. We are incredibly systematic in our business, if you haven't already been able to tell. We've got checklists, frameworks, we've got step-by-step instructions for every single thing that we do. First and foremost, how we do things in our business, and then we pass along and leverage those learnings from our own business and share it with our clients and our students. So the way that you do things is the same way that we've learned to do things. And it's not based on theory, it's based on what actually works in the real world. Like, for example, ad templates. What are the best performing ad structures for driving traffic to a quiz? Well, there's certain elements that you want to have in place, like some of the elements that are mentioned here, in a specific order, in a specific way. We have this dialed down into a science because, again, this is what we do all day, every day. It's not one of many things that we do. It's what we do all day, every day. Again, we are the best in the world at this very tiny, narrow slice of business and life. It is our expertise. We quite literally wrote the book on the subject, created the technology for the subject, we invented the technique itself. We've even coined the phrase that you are hearing about here today. Next up is, once you've launched, it's about getting quick wins out of the gate, but then scaling that and optimizing that over time. So we have certain targets that we set, certain metrics that you want to be hitting, like, for example, an optimized cost per click, cost per lead, cost per sale. Based on these targets, we can back into what metrics we want to be hitting on your quiz. Like, for example, your landing page conversion rate, your question completion rate, the buckets conversion rate as well. And we know, again, because we have access to a tremendous amount of data and because we work with thousands of clients and students, we know what benchmarks you should be hitting for every single step along the way inside your funnel. From there, we have a testing protocol that we follow to figure out what you should focus on first. So let's say you launch your quiz and your quiz doesn't hit a home run out of the gate, which is very common. It's not uncommon for me to create a quiz that doesn't hit a home run out of the gate. So the question is, what do you test first? Do you test your images? Do you test adding or removing a progress bar, the sequence of your questions, test the hook, the questions themselves? Do you try a different audience? Do you try a different quiz layout? Do you switch from video to non-video or vice versa? Do you change your offer? Again, we have a systematic step-by-step testing protocol that we go through with our students and clients to walk through it step by step. From there, we identify how are we going to scale? And there's a 4-phase process for scaling every single quiz funnel. And it starts with beginning with whatever number is right for you. You can start with as little as $5 a day. I mentioned to you when I first started my business, I think I started at $10 or $20 a day in my early career. You can start with as little as $5 a day. So once you get to $5 a day, then it's a matter of getting these numbers and these metrics right so that you can scale to $25 a day. And once you can scale from $25 a day to $100 a day, and at that point you can decide how far do you want to scale. But the beautiful thing about a quiz is that you've got a tremendous amount of flexibility, that you can keep things small and profitable if you want to, small and mighty, or you can be big and profitable at the same time. So from here, we work through this process of scaling the business and making sure that it's profitable every step along the way. Now, to make all this happen, you've got to have multiple pieces. It's not just enough to have the right training. It's not just enough to have the right support. You need to have 3 critical ingredients to have success really in anything in digital advertising, digital marketing, digital business online, but certainly true for what we're talking about here. The right training, the right methodology, the right support, and the right technology as well. And we're going to take a look inside the technology in just a moment. But I want to walk you through what are the critical ingredients for success when it comes to either using the technology that I'm going to be showing, or if you decide that you want to develop your own technology. I mean, heck, you could build your own software company, I guess, and build this. You could build your own technology. I'm going to walk you through what is necessary to be successful, so that you don't fall into the trap of saying, oh, I'm going to try one of those cheap quiz builders and see how it works. You are not going to be happy with the results that you get, and you're going to come to the conclusion that quiz funnels don't work, when in reality it's because you're missing critical ingredients. Let's talk about each one. So the first critical ingredient is what we call a canvas. A canvas, as you're going to see in just a moment, is a way to lay out your entire logic for your quiz, post-quiz, pre-quiz, and beyond, for how all the pieces fit together so that you're sending people to different places based on the different answers to the different questions along the way. Next up is you also want to have builder technology as well. You don't want to rely on one tool for creating your quiz and then another tool for creating the pages before and after your quiz. You want to have it all integrated together. Again, the more connection points you have, the more risk there is for something breaking. The more you can have it all in one place, the better. Next up, you want to use high converting templates when you're designing anything. You don't want to start from scratch just trying to guessing what works. You want to start with success. You want to start with something that you can tweak, change, make a few modifications to it, and know that it is going to be successful for you. And from there are a whole suite of critical features that you must have in any software technology solution to have success with everything we've talked about in the course of this week. You need to have the ability to do what's called outcome mapping. You need to have what's called scoring and weighting logic. I'll explain what that is. Branching and skipping logic. Real-time lead scoring so that you can score in real time the value of a lead as they go through your quiz. You need to make sure that you've got detailed conversion analytics so you can see how people are converting each step along the way in your quiz, where they're dropping off, where they're leaving off, where you're losing people along the way, so you can fix whatever holes, whatever leaks exist. You need to make sure that your quiz funnel technology is GDPR compliant for those of you who operate in a place in the world that has some form of a GDPR policy, whether it is a place like Europe, whether it's a place like Canada, whether it's a place like California. You want to make sure that your technology allows you to be GDPR compliant. You need to have UTM tracking to understand how different traffic sources are behaving in different ways. You ideally want to have payment integration, the ability to collect payment inside the tool, and send people to different offers in different ways based on how they answer your questions. You need to make sure that your quiz funnel technology has a zero-party data capture and a direct integration with the new, not the old, but the new Facebook Conversion API so that you can funnel that information back to the big data platforms so that you can optimize your traffic, optimize your targeting in some of the ways that we've talked about. Same thing is true with Google Analytics tracking and integration. You want to have integration with your email tool, whatever tool you're using to send text messages. If you're doing webinars as well. You want the ability to have custom URLs so you can create custom branded quizzes like the Dad Quiz or Take the Funnel Quiz or Choose Quiz, not just relying on the third-party software's placement. You also want to have the ability to create unlimited quizzes, unlimited funnels, and unlimited leads. You don't want to be capped where you are handcuffed into not being able to create what you want when you want because you are stuck in some low-tier level software that doesn't have the ability to scale with you and your business. So these are just some of the things that are absolutely essential when it comes to determining which technology solution is right for you and how to use the right technology in your business. So what I want to do now, for those of you who are curious or even just interested, I want to take you inside the technology, to show you the technology, what a real, robust, enterprise quality technology looks like, what is required to be successful using this strategy. And we're going to go behind the scenes inside the technology. I'm going to take you into the different nooks and crannies and key features and advanced elements that are absolutely essential. And we're going to go through the process of creating some of a quiz funnel in real time so you can see how powerful this technology can be. So if you bear with me 1 second, I am going to switch gears on my computer. And what I'm going to do is close out of just a few things to make sure that I've got everything that I need and make sure that I did not mess anything up along the way. And if you bear with me 1 second, I just want to check in one last thing before I pull this up. And that is to make sure that we are all good here. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Let's take a look inside the technology now. When you log into your Bucket.io account, the first thing that you'll see is the number of people who have gone through your quiz, who have taken your quiz, who have gone through your quiz step by step. And you can see in this quiz right here, we have some of those numbers. And what I want to do is I want to take you through some of the features inside the software to show you how quizzes are created and how you build them. So first things first, I'll take you inside an example of a quiz that you might be familiar with, and that is this quiz right here, the what type of funnel is right for you quiz. So I'm going to open it up right now, pull it up, and what you're looking at here, and it'll just take a second for me to load this, is what we call your canvas. Canvas is where you lay out your entire quiz all in one place, and where you have all of your branching in place to connect all of your questions, all of your outcomes, all of your buckets together. And you can see here that this is very much a visual tool where you can lay everything out visually, and I'll zoom in a little bit, and you can see all the different questions that you're connecting to one another, how you're branching things, skipping things, and moving them along the way. The first thing that you want to have in place is what's known as outcome mapping. Outcome mapping gives you the ability to, based on a person's quiz answers, the combinations of answers that they give you, to correlate those responses to one of several outcomes. In other words, you can ask more than one question, and you're not just limited to the answers to one or two questions, but you can use the combination of those answers in the background to move people into one of several buckets. And based on those different buckets, you can present people different messaging, different offers, different content, different copy. In other words, you have a sophisticated piece of technology that's doing an intelligent combination of calculations behind the scenes to connect multiple responses together. That's what outcome mapping actually is. Now, from there, you also want the ability to do what's called scoring logic. Scoring logic, if I toggle this right here, gives you the ability to score different responses as well, to attach a score to each response, which allows you to do things like real-time lead scoring. It allows you to do things like put people into different buckets based on the range of score. Perhaps you want to assign a point system based on how people answer your questions. And based on a certain number of points, maybe if someone is a high enough point value, you might want to get them on the phone with you. If they're a low point value, you might want to invite them to watch your webinar, watch your training, watch your workshop, or you might want to send them to a nurture sequence. Depending on the point value, you might say this is a good prospect for you, and if the point value isn't high enough, maybe they're not the right fit. You can also use scoring to determine where someone is in a journey. Maybe someone is at an expert level and they need expert level support. They might have a certain score. Maybe someone's at a beginner level, and if they're at a beginner level, they have a different score. So you can use scoring logic to put people into different buckets based on the calculated score that they have as a result of taking this quiz. Now let's take a look at actually modifying, for example, one of these questions. Let's take a look at this one right here. If you click on this, you're going to see editing questions is a process whereby you've got a tremendous amount of functionality and customizability when it comes to editing and modifying an individual question. Let's take a look at some of the options right here. The first option I want to draw your attention to is, number one, the ability to randomize the choice of your questions. You will have certain questions that you will not want to create a recency effect or primacy effect, whereby people are just clicking the first answer that comes up and creating a bias in your quiz. It won't show up to you here in your quiz, but to the users, it will show that you are randomizing the choice order of your questions. There are other questions that you might want to do things like add images to the questions. Like, for example, if in this case right here, if I'm asking which type of traffic is right for you, you might want the ability to choose an image that allows you to determine what image someone sees when they are presented with this option, which adds a tremendous amount of visual. I have a hard time talking and moving this at the same time. Try tapping your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time. There we go. Here we go. And from this right here, if that's Facebook, this one right here, I might want to put Google, the Google image. Let's see here. Select the image. I can check that. That spacing looks good. And you can add images to every single one of your answer options to make your quiz more interactive and more powerful. There are all sorts of other things that you can do, like, for example, customizing the progress bar, giving yourself the flexibility and the ability to not only add or remove a progress bar, which, by the way, is a good practice, but you can do things like customize the percent that someone's at. And the reason for that is you have the ability to decide what percent someone is at. You can let that calculation occur automatically, or you can take into account things like, for example, steps they've taken before the quiz to create a higher progress percentage that someone's completed based on those initial steps. You can do all sorts of things like next buttons and back buttons based on if you want to give people the option to move forward or move back. Customize the colors very simply based on whatever branding or color scheme is right for you, and much, much more. Now, when it comes to the different types of questions, you want something that gives you the flexibility to have different types of questions. So what we saw right there is what's called a radio select question, but you also want the ability to have short input, long input question, checkbox questions, and much, much more. When it comes to lead capture, you also want the ability to create customizable lead capture pages that allow you to present your free results in exchange for completing the quiz in an incredibly compelling way, just like you see right here. Your funnel type is ECQF. Where should we send it? Enter your best email, and we'll click the button below. Now, as far as the outcomes itself on the back of your quiz, you want the ability, as you can see right here with this, which this provides, the ability to create all of your pages within the technology itself, which we'll look at in just a moment. But you also want the ability, if you want, to be able to drive people to an external page. Let's say, for example, you've got a quiz that you want to drive people to your Amazon product page. Well, you can do that. The way you do that is very simply, I'll just zoom in and show you exactly how this works. Whoops. The way you do that is if I go here on the right-hand side, all you need to do is pick from what you can see here an external URL that you might be driving people to. Decide what that URL is going to be and post it inside the field. So for example, if I want to drive people to my book on Amazon, I can just copy this URL right here. I can go back inside the software and add it, which means that if you've got a product on Shopify, you've got a product on Amazon, you've got a product on any third-party platform, you can connect it and put it in place right here on the screen. Now, I mentioned that you also have the ability to build and create all of your pages right inside the software itself, because not only is this a quiz builder, this replaces your need for any sort of funnel or page builder as well. So this page right here is built right inside of the software. You can see this is an example of the page, and there's tons of customizability. You can add things like deadlines and countdown timers. You can customize the layout to different elements. You can make super simple changes, like for example, if I want to change the copy on this to what funnel is right for your company instead of business, you make the changes right then and there. Everything is saved automatically, so you don't need to worry about hitting the save button a million times. If you want to change back, you just hit the undo button right here and it'll change it back to the way it was. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You can add different buttons, you can add different images, you can add different links, you can add different videos. You can create any page of any type for anything in your business inside this technology. Now, not only do you have the ability to change the text and all these elements, you have the opportunity to change the page elements as well. So you can customize the fonts, you can add different images and backgrounds, you can change the margin and spacing to everything right here. So this gives you infinite customizability on what it is that you are building and creating inside of your quiz. Now, in addition to that, you also have all sorts of advanced setting notifications, and this is where we're going to start to show some of the things that you're not going to find in one place anywhere else. So let's go through some of these elements one by one. So there's some basic elements right here, like the ability to get notifications anytime someone takes your quiz. So that way, if you want to be notified, hey, someone took your quiz, you can follow up with them right away. You have the ability to send your quiz results to people right here without any other technology at all. So you can email people their quiz results right here natively inside the technology, inside the app. You have the ability to create a custom URL and redirect people to your quiz from any URL that you might want. So let's say you've got a website and you want to have yourwebsite.com/quiz, you can do that. You want to buy your own domain, your website quiz.com, you can do that as well. Not only do you have the ability to link directly to your quiz, but the quiz itself is actually hosted inside the software. So you don't even need a website. So what that means is you can have a website and link to your quiz, or this can replace your website. This can serve as your website. You do not need anything else. You can make everything SEO friendly as well. So that way, if you want your quiz to be searchable and findable through search engine optimization found on Google, you can do that. So you can create your quiz in such a way that it's findable and get all sorts of free traffic, free organic traffic to your quiz. Importantly, you have the ability to add any type of tracking code that you'd like on your quiz. You can add tracking codes for things like Google Tag Manager. If you've got a cookie banner that you want to have up on your quiz, you can add that as well. You can add any type of tracking code to your website. And if you've got multiple types of tracking code that you want to add, you can just toggle this on and add multiple different types of tracking codes. You also have the ability to use what are called UTM variables, and here's what that means. Let's say you want to know where people come from. How did they find your quiz? You can capture all that information. You can know exactly what keywords they typed in to find your quiz. You can know exactly which placements they clicked on to find your quiz. It all gets captured through what's called UTM variables right here, so you can see where your most profitable traffic is coming from, where you're getting the best conversion, where you're getting the most people to take your quiz. Beyond that, you also have what's called field logic. Field logic gives you the ability to customize your content based on a person's quiz answers. So let's take, for example, if someone is, let's take this question right here. And we want to know what type of business someone's in. E-commerce, digital products, affiliate marketing, client services, local small business, lead generation, or more. And let's say if based on a person's business type, we'll call this business type, we want to reference this later on in our quiz and in our content. So for example, imagine having a future question. Say it's question number 4. And the question is, as someone who sells physical products, one of the biggest challenges we see is blank. Well, you could have that same question read, as someone who sells digital products, we see the biggest challenge is so on and so forth. Someone who sells affiliate products, and so on and so forth. What that means is you have the ability to create custom merge fields. Have you ever gotten an email that says, "Dear first name"? Imagine being able to reference a person's unique attributes in the content that you send. What this means is this. You send one email, you write one email, but you plug in business type inside that email like this, and it will default to this individual's business type. Physical products, digital products, affiliate products, and more. And you can create unlimited variants of this for unlimited questions. That's what Field Logic is all about. But let's get to the good stuff. This is just the basics. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's look at integrations. Remember when we talked about the importance of capturing zero-party data and then feeding that data back to the big tech platforms? Let's take a look at what that looks like in action with the Facebook integration. Facebook integration is the Facebook Pixel and Facebook Conversion API integration. This is an industry, one-of-a-kind integration that we have directly with Facebook, where you're able to capture all the information and send it back to Facebook via Facebook Conversion API server-side tracking. What that means is this. Someone takes your quiz. You can connect that data back to Facebook and say, Facebook, I want to find more people like the ones who have taken my quiz. People who have answered this question that way, question number 2 this other way. Can you find me more people? And because you have captured this zero-party data and you're feeding it back to Facebook, Facebook is able to say, we can find more people just for you. So what that means, and if you bear with me one second, I will actually draw this out so you can just visually see what it is that we're talking about right here. And I shared this on the Q&A call yesterday, but I'm going to do it again. What this means is this. Let's say, for example, you have a quiz, and you have quiz answers that people give you. And one person says that they are yellow, blue, and red, just in our kind of abstraction right here, right? Imagine this is your quiz. Well, with this integration that you see on my screen right here, if we can pull the integration up, with this integration that you can see right here on my screen, you have now the ability to capture that information and send it back. So take a look. If you want to tag people who have answered e-commerce in this quiz, we'll call it maybe the lead tag. We can tag those people as e-com. I'm just going to do this for the sake of time. Turn that on. And now I can say, Facebook, find me more people on Facebook who are like the people who answered that they are in the e-commerce business. So you can build lookalike audiences just like the people that you most want. And you can serve those people custom content. So like, let's say, for example, if I go down to this question right here. If I want to know that someone is a coach, I can tag this as a coach lead, or if someone is a consultant, right? So I'm going to say coach. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to put this on as consultant and consultant. Now, I can do two things. First things first, I can serve custom content to these people. I can serve custom content for my coaches on Facebook and custom content for my consultants on Facebook. So check it out. Let's say, for example, I want to send let's see if I have it pulled up. Bear with me one second. Here it is. If I want to send an ad or a post just to consultants, look at what this ad says. Attention consultants. How am I getting that information? From this right here. I'm serving that just to the people who have said that they are a consultant. Versus this one right here, attention business owners, agency owners. I can send that one just to this audience right here, agency owners. Imagine being able to send the right content to the right people at the right time. In order to do that, you must have this enhanced, deep integration between Facebook and the technology. You're capturing this information via Facebook Conversion API server side. It took our team months to develop this, and we are releasing that for the first time ever right now. So for the first time ever, you can use the C API, Conversion API, in combination with the Facebook Pixel and create not only custom audiences, but lookalike audiences as well on Facebook. But it gets better, because you can do the same exact thing on Google as well. Remember, Google includes Google Search, Google Display, and it also includes YouTube. So by putting the same configuration in place, that same deep integration through Google Analytics, you're able to serve custom content. Like for example, if you want to serve one video to all of your coaches, you can do that. If you want to send a different video to all of your course creators or membership site owners, you can do that. Custom content to the right people at the right time. And the beautiful thing is this: the longer you run your quiz, the more data that you put through it, the more intelligent it gets. It self-optimizes. That is the AI portion of everything that we've been talking about. It becomes increasingly intelligent the more data that you put through it and the better it performs over time. This is why, guys, you can't just use a WordPress quiz plugin to get the results that we've talked about. That is like cutting a coconut with a plastic knife. It is not going to win the game. Facebook integration, Google Analytics integration. Let's talk now about your email integration, and I'll show you a few examples of this in action. Now, when it comes to email integration, here's an example in action. This particular version of the quiz is connected with a program called Infusionsoft, or Keep. Now, what's beautiful about this technology is not only can you feed all the data that you get back into the big tech data platforms to enhance your targeting and your advertising and drive down your cost per lead, get increasingly intelligent and more, but you can push all this data to whatever tool you use for your follow-up. So in other words, imagine being able to send custom emails, custom content, custom messages based on the answers people give you in your quiz. You can do that. All of the tagging that you're putting in place with the quiz, that gets passed along to your CRM, to your ESP. So you can see right here, for this particular funnel, I want to create a tag. I want to pull this tag from my Infusionsoft account. I'm just going to pick one of the tags right here. Let's just call it this one right here, catch-all. I can create a tag inside my platform so that way I know inside of Infusionsoft everybody who sells one product, everybody who sells multiple products. I can know everybody who is an e-commerce seller, digital information product, affiliate marketing. I can know everybody who's selling physical books. So when I want to create an offer or a message or a piece of content just for people selling a book, I can send that email just to this group of people right here. Or if I want to know, for example, people who are consultants versus coaches, I can send different case studies, different examples based on those results. So this information allows you to pass all of this data to whatever tool that you're using. And it's not just limited to Infusionsoft. We integrate with over 1,000 different tools on the market. Here's another example. This is Ontraport, another big tool that we are fans of. And with this integration, we have what's called a deep funnel integration with Ontraport. What that means is if you use a tool like Ontraport, all of this data gets passed through into Ontraport, not just the quiz data, but all of the data that you get from Facebook as well. So all of that information that you capture at the source about the user via the traffic channels that you're advertising on, that all gets passed along. So you don't just know a person's name and email address, you know all of this information about them. This is what zero-party data looks like when you capture it. Now, if you're wondering, does Bucket integrate with your tool? We integrate with a third-party platform called Zapier. Zapier gives you the ability to integrate with over 1,000 different software technologies on the market. So all you need to do is go to Zapier.com and you can see what tool that you use. Do you use, for example, Shopify? Let's take a look. If you use Shopify, let's take a look at what Shopify connects with. Does Shopify connect with Bucket? We're using Bucket 2.0. Bucket 1.0 is deprecated technology that we no longer actively sell and has been for multiple years. Bucket 2.0 is the new technology that you can see right here. Yes, indeed, you can connect Shopify with Bucket 2.0. Let's take a look at another example. How about something like Klaviyo? I think I saw someone ask about Klaviyo. Does Bucket integrate with Klaviyo? Yes, it does. If we type this in right here, Bucket 2.0, absolutely. When you get a new lead through Bucket, you can add that subscriber to a specific list inside your Klaviyo account. So you can connect any tool on the market with your Bucket.io quiz to push that data forward. But it gets even better, because not only can you integrate your traffic, your follow-up, for those of you who do webinar work, you can even directly integrate your webinar account. Let's say you do webinars on Zoom. That's what I'm on right now. We're on Zoom running through a YouTube live stream on the page that you're in right now. Let's say that anybody who takes your quiz, you want to get them signed up to a Zoom webinar or a Zoom meeting. Well, you can make that connection, and making the connection is as simple as clicking this green button right here, clicking the allow button, and all of a sudden you can send the right people to the right training, the right workshops, the right webinars based on this direct integration. And I'll show you exactly how you can do that. If I exit out of this for just a moment, one of the things that you can do is, instead of just when you run a quiz, imagine having a quiz that just directly registers people straight into a webinar. So we've looked here at this example. This is an example of a lead capture, right? We're capturing the person's email address. But imagine the ability to capture people directly into a webinar. So maybe they take your quiz and you want to put them straight into a webinar based on their quiz results. Maybe you have different webinars on different topics. Maybe you've got different webinars at different times. Well, you can do that right here. And this is an unformatted version, but you can see right here, webinar registration, here's the date, here's the time. I can add multiple options, get people registered directly on the back of taking the quiz. You can also do the same thing after people have gotten their quiz results. Let's say, for example, you want to take people through the quiz, and after they've gotten their results, after you've delivered value, then and only then do you want to have a webinar page that people land on. Hey, now that you've gotten your quiz results, let me tell you about a free webinar that I'm hosting on the topic. You can do that as well, and you can integrate directly with your webinar platform and get people to register for the webinar. All the information that you've captured along the way, including their email address, which registers them for the webinar, gets pushed forward so you don't have to ask for their email again. It is tight. You can also drive people to book a call with you after they opt in and more. So the flexibility and possibilities are virtually endless when it comes to integrations. Now let's talk about the next piece of the puzzle, which is working with templates. It's important that you have the ability to work with high converting templates so you're not having to reinvent the wheel and start completely from scratch. So here you've got a whole host of templates in all sorts of different markets, all sorts of different industries, all sorts of different situations, selling all sorts of different items right here. And I want to show you how easy it can be working with a template. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this purple one right here. I'm going to first preview this template, show you what's possible. I'll preview this template. This is what this looks like. Now you might be saying, oh, those aren't quite my colors. Those aren't quite my logos or fonts. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. And the beautiful thing about these templates is it's not just the pages, but it's also the funnel flow itself. So you're starting not with a blank canvas, literally. You're starting with a canvas that has questions that are already formulated in place so that you don't have to start from scratch. You can use this as a starting point. So what I want to do is I'm going to click this button, Select and Customize, which I've already done. And I'm going to go back to my list of funnels inside my dashboard here. And I'm going to show you this one right here. And we're going to take a look at what this looks like in action. So this is the one that we just downloaded, just used from the template library. And you can see when we load it into our account and we pull up our canvas, as I'm going to do here in just a moment, you have the entire quiz is already pre-installed. So if we go into our builder right here, you can see it's right here. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to make modifications to this if you are completely starting from scratch. When I look at this here, there's certain things that I might want to have in place. Like, for example, we talked a little bit about, for those of you who are in parts of the world that have a GDPR compliance requirement, you have the ability to add your GDPR data protection element right here on this page. So you can decide where you want to put it in place. Add your language, add your linking. This is just sample language. It's not the language that you would use, but it just shows you what you can do with a checkbox here that ensures people are adhering to and acknowledging your GDPR compliance statement. So you have the ability to put that in place right at the time of completion, right at the time of opt-in as well. Next up, I'll draw your attention to inside the canvas. You'll see that not only do you have the ability to start from something like this, but you get to customize what you want each page element to look like, and you're not starting from scratch. Like, so for example, if we look at this one right here, you'll notice that this thank you page goes to a page that looks a little something like this. This appears to be a text-based page, right? So this is a text-based outcome page. Let's say I want to put a video on my page. Well, again, instead of starting from scratch, I can pick one of these different versions. I want to do this video version right here. All of a sudden, it's changed to a video page, and all I need to do is make a few simple tweaks, a few simple modifications, add my video to this place, which you can host anywhere from YouTube to Vimeo to a whole host of other places to put your video content in place. Next, what I want to do is I'll show you just how easy it is to work within the builder. Let's go through the process of actually making a few modifications and building a few things in real time. So let's say, for example, you're starting with something that looks like this, and I want to make some changes to this. Well, first of all, I want to change this to be my image. I want to change it to my photo. So I'm going to take one of my images, I'm going to load it up, I'm going to put it in place right here. I've got my image right here. What's blocking you from creating wealth? Well, I don't really help people with the wealth creation process. I might say, what's blocking you from building your business, right? So I'm making a few changes right there. Now, I don't like this purple. It's really not my brand. So I'm going to make some changes to this. I'm going to change the color. Let me make this perhaps a dark blue, maybe like this, go here. I want to make it somewhat semi-transparent so it kind of blends over. I'm going to do that right here, and voila, I've made that change. Maybe up here, I want to change this background image to something else. I'm going to make this something different. I scroll down, I take a look, and maybe I want to do this. I want to click on this, and I'm going to put that in place, and boom. And actually, you know what? I want to crop this a little bit. I want to make this look a little bit different. So I'm going to modify this. I'm going to go back to my image. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go to crop image. I really want to get some of these elements in place. I really want to get, I don't know, this orange in place right here. So I'm going to do that, save the changes, and boom, I've got it right here. Now maybe I want to change this logo to my own logo because that logo is nice, but it's not my company logo. I've uploaded my company logo for one of our products at least, put that in place. I've changed my logo. So you can see just how quickly we can make changes to this to completely change the look and feel of the quiz. Let's say I want this to be, I don't know, take the quiz. Instead of saying whatever it said before, click here to continue. I can take the quiz. I want to change my font size a little bit, maybe make this a little bit bigger. Edit this, let's see right here. Okay, I'll maybe make this, I don't know, 36 fonts, and make it a little bit bigger, 48 font, that's great. Okay. Now, what if I want to change the language of my quiz? Maybe I don't want this to be in English. Well, all I need to do is change it to whatever language that you want. Let's pick a couple languages. So I went through to Google Translate, take the quiz. Let's see, let's make this a Japanese quiz. I'm going to copy, paste. I don't read and write Japanese. Put this in place, boom. The quiz is in Japanese. Let's pick another language. Maybe I want to make it in, I don't know, let's pick a fun language that maybe few of us may know. Maori, let's see what Maori is. All right, cool, that sounds fun. Let's put that in right here. Change the language, let's go. Boom, make that a little bit smaller. Change the font size, back to maybe 24 fonts. And here we go, we're in business, right? So you can go in any language, any market, any element around the world, you can create it. Let's do one more, maybe we'll do one in Chinese. Traditional characters, do this. Not sure if that's the best translation of that, but I'm working on Google Translate right here. Let's make this a little bit bigger, and voila. So you can create your quiz in any language that you want in any country around the world using this process right here. But it gets even better. Let's take a look at, and I haven't even gotten to the new stuff yet. Let's take a look at the analytics. So you want to make sure that you have the ability to analyze the results of your quiz in a tremendous amount of detail. So let's take a look at a quiz that actually has some data in it right here. So I'm going to take you into the analytics element. This is the most powerful analytics package of its kind that gives you access to more data, gives you access to more specificity, more transparency in your quiz than anything else that exists. So you can see right here, this particular quiz has an 83% completion rate, 71% participant opt-in rate. So 71% of people are opting in to take this quiz. And I can look at every single individual question that people are going through, and I can see exactly how they're answering it. So I can see that 91.8% of people are answering this first question, 94%, 95%, 96%, and then I can drill down and I can see, for example, of my different types of business, which question is that? I can see what percentage of people are answering this quiz. So look at this. I know that 18% of my market, at least the people who've taken this quiz, are selling e-commerce products, 26% are selling digital products, 13% are selling affiliate products, 29% are selling client services. I can also see the different price points that people are selling at in my market. 35% less than $100, 31% hundreds of dollars, 24% thousands of dollars, and 8.4% tens of thousands of dollars for the price point. So you have access to a tremendous amount of information. And again, remember, with that conversion API, Google Analytics, Facebook integration, plus the integration with all of your follow-up software, you can send the right ads, the right emails, the right messages to the right people at the right time in the right way. You have access to all of that and much, much more. You also have the ability to look at any open-ended answers that you have. Let's say, for example, and by the way, one of the things I didn't mention is not only do you have the ability to create quiz funnels in this software, you can create any type of funnel. You can create a webinar funnel, you can create a traditional funnel, you can create a survey or a survey funnel inside this technology. Let's take a look at an example of a survey funnel. So this one here is a deep dive survey. Remember we talked about how you can connect your quiz to your deep dive survey? Well, with this, let's take a look. You have access to all of the open-ended responses. So for those of you who are wondering, let's say you're a coach, and you want to have the responses that people give you right there up in front of you when you're having the conversation, you can have it all right here. So all of these open-ended responses are in place. It also does what's called hyper-responsive scoring. Hyper-responsive scoring gives you the score of the response based on the length of response, the depth of response, so you can look at who are the people who are most worth paying attention to, your hyper-responsives, all the ones in green, and you can ignore all the rest, the less responsive segment of your market. So you can do all of that and more. You also have access to an incredibly robust knowledge base that gives you basically answers to everything that you might want to know, an incredibly responsive support team that helps you with everything else when you become a client of the technology. But more important than any of that is something that I want to show you that is absolutely brand new, that you're going to be seeing for the very first time ever. This is something I am incredibly excited to reveal and share with you. And it is something that we're launching for the very first time ever, which is called QuizCart. QuizCart, for the first time ever, gives you the ability to sell your products, different products to different people right here inside the app itself. So check it out. When you log into your cart, you have the ability to, number one, see your sales over the last, say, 7 days, see all of your analytics, see all of your results of the income, the revenue that you're generating from the products that you sell directly on the back of your quiz. But in addition to that, you can create inside the canvas all sorts of sophisticated cart, upsell, downsell funnels, all based on a person's quiz answers. So let's check it out. If we go inside of Canvas right here, you'll see this is an example of a poodle training funnel. And you can see here in this example, we have two different buckets. We have a standard poodle bucket and we have a toy poodle bucket. Now we might want to send, even though they're poodles, we might want to send the different buyers to different products. We might have a toy poodle version of our product and a standard poodle version of our product. So if we go here to the toy poodle version of our product, for example, I can just click the preview button. You can see here, look, it's a toy poodle training specific checkout page, specifically for toy poodles. So this is our toy poodle training product. We're setting a customized version of our offer, customized version of our checkout process, all based on a person's results. But it gets even better, because from here, you can send people to custom one-click upsells based on the answers they give you in your quiz. So for example, maybe we find out that in the quiz, we have a toy poodle who has a biting problem. What would be a good upsell to our poodle training product? Maybe a bite prevention product that we might sell. So you can put in front of people the right products at the right time based on their combination of answers. You can see right here, here's a psychology of dogs, first aid for your dog, dog food guide, one-click upsell, all based on the quiz taker's answers. I can even send people to a custom download page where they can access their product and they can see all the other products or content that I might be sharing. So for the first time ever, you now have the ability to show and sell the right product to the right people at the right time in the right way, and you do not need any other software to do it. You can do it all right here inside of your Bucket.io account with the new QuizCart technology, which again gives you the ability to see all of your sales, all of your results in one place. You can track your income, track your revenue for the first time ever. And of course, if you have your own shopping cart that you use, if you use Shopify or something else, you can still connect your external shopping cart to the QuizFunnel technology. So that gives you a little bit of a sneak peek inside the technology that makes it all happen. Who else is excited to get your hands on this little piece of technology and start doing some good things with it? I don't know about you, but whenever I see this, it gets me super excited about the possibilities. It gets me feeling how real it is, how close it is to being able to make it happen and get these results. To make it happen, to get these results, I'll be sharing with you what we're going to be doing tomorrow in tomorrow's session. Because tomorrow is where everything all comes together for the first time. We've covered the process. We've introduced the technology. You've come up with the big idea behind your quiz, or at least started to think about what that big idea might be. And now is the time where you get to decide, do you want to take what we've covered this last week and go ahead and implement it on your own? Or do you want to work with me and my team to make this a reality for you? To get access to all of the training to make it possible, get access to all the technology to make it possible, and get access to all the support to create, build, and launch your very own high-converting, highly successful quiz funnel. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So let me take a moment to tell you a little bit about where we are right now in the process, what's happening tomorrow, so that you can decide if tomorrow is a session that you want to be part of. Here's the deal. Once a year, we open up an opportunity to work directly with us in the way that we'll be introducing tomorrow. We open up this opportunity for 1 week and 1 week only. And the reason for that is after we close the doors on this opportunity, we shift 100% of our attention as a company to serving everybody who's chosen to move forward, our students and our clients. And tomorrow, same time, same place, same channel, we have a special early bird opportunity where you can get to the front of the line and you can get in before everybody else and get a special opportunity that we're not making available again. For this reason, tomorrow's session, which is at Saturday, 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time, 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, this is a live-only session and there is no replay. And the reason for that is we're opening up a time-limited and quantity-limited opportunity that is first come, first serve, to work directly with me and our team to create, launch, and build your very own quiz funnel. It's the opportunity to get access to our deep dive training. It's the opportunity to get access to our technology. It is the only opportunity to get access to all of these things. Now, I want to give you a heads up and set the frame that if you know me by now, you probably know me well enough, and you heard on yesterday's Q&A session that this opportunity, that this system is a complete system. It would be irresponsible of me to give you a piece of the system and hopes that you might be successful with it. What we have found doing this for the last decade plus is that in order to be successful, it's not enough to just have your hands on the technology. It's not enough to just have your hands on the training. It's not enough to just have your hands on support. You have to have all three ingredients to be successful. Now, tomorrow's opportunity is a time-sensitive, time-limited opportunity. It is first come, first serve, and to manage your expectations, it is not going to be cheap. It is not the cheapest solution on the market. Look, if you're looking for the cheapest solution on the market, I am not the right guy for you. This is not the right place for you. If you're looking for the best solution on the market, if you're looking for the best chance of being successful, this is it. This is the best. It is number one. So I say that to let you know that if you're not interested in finding out about what the opportunity is, how it works, what the investment is, what it's like working together, getting your questions answered, then please do yourself a favor and do not come tomorrow. Do not show up. I do not want you to waste your time on something that is not right for you. But if you are interested, if you are curious, if you have any desire at all to find out what it is, how it works, and you even might be interested in working together to make this a reality in your business, tomorrow at 3 p.m. US Central Time is the only time we are making this special early bird offer. I'm going to say it again. We open up for a week. So if you're saying, I can't make it, I'm getting married, it's my birthday, I can't make it, you will have an opportunity next week to get in during our very brief window, but it will not be as good as the opportunity that we're making available tomorrow for early birds only. It'll be the one and one only time that you will see this offer, and you will be at the back of the line, not the front of the line, because this is first come, first serve. So I just want to lay it all out. I want to be fully transparent. Now, in order to attend this session tomorrow, you must register. And the registration link is quizfunnel.com/earlybird. That's quizfunnel.com/earlybird, one word. It's going to take you to a little screen that looks, if you bear with me 1 second, a little like this right here. It's a simple page, early bird access, how to get me and my team to build your quiz for you. Live only, extremely limited, early bird VIP opportunity. Live only, extremely limited, early bird VIP opportunity. You must register in order to attend. So if you're interested or even just curious, here's what I recommend that you do right here, right now. Click that orange button on this page that says register now. Answer this question right here that tells us a little bit about your business. Type in your first name and put in your best email address, the one that you are absolutely going to check, the one that you're not going to miss, the one that is going to get right to you so that you do not miss this session because it is live only. I'm making this as clear as possible so that way if there's someone who says, I didn't know it was live only, I didn't realize that there was no replay, there are many of us here, hundreds of us, who have heard me say that this is live only. There is no replay. And again, we're going to be talking about what the opportunity is to work together to get your quiz built, get access to the technology, get access to the training, all the pieces along the way, plus all the exciting bonuses that you get only by moving forward tomorrow. All right. So with all that being said, given that it is our third session of this week, it is our Friday session, we're going to wrap up with some next steps, and then we're going to go to our final exercise of the day, and we're going to talk about what to do from here. So far we've covered the quiz funnel paradox, we've covered the big idea behind your quiz, and today we covered that quiz funnel blueprint. The entire process of creating your quiz from start to finish, plus what you want to be looking for in the technology to make it all possible. So what I'd love to do now is to invite you one final time here today to take a moment going through all of your notes and think about what has been your biggest takeaway from today's training. Biggest takeaway. Was it something having to do with the 5 market must-haves and picking your market? Was it something in the recap of the entire process? Did something finally click when you've seen the 30,000-foot view of putting all the pieces together and what it really takes to be successful, not only with this model, but building any type of business online? Was it maybe something that you saw inside the technology that's given you some ideas about the possibilities in your business? Maybe it was something inside the tool that made you realize, this is what it really takes in order to build a successful quiz funnel. Maybe you're looking to yourself and saying, gosh, Ryan, I would really love if I could just have you and your team handle all the messy bits and do all that tech for me. That would be really great, wouldn't it? No matter what that takeaway is, let me know, big or small, post it inside the chat roll, and you can use that link, hashtag that I thought was on the screen, hashtag takeaway, all caps, hashtag takeaway, and let me know what is your single biggest takeaway from today's session. And we're going to talk about next steps, and we are going to go from there. So as I go through it right now, I want to take a moment to look at our biggest takeaways of the day. All right. Loving this right now. Takeaway, technology rocks. Takeaway, this is a one-stop shop. Takeaway, templates and examples. Success together, the right market, the right training, the right support, the right technology, the analytics and Facebook integration to gain lookalike audience. Takeaway, Bucket is amazing. Takeaway, self-optimizing. Quiz funnel map, technology, the APIs, power of integration. Oh my gosh, there's almost no way not to succeed with Ryan's program, Bucket and Quiz funnels. 5 market must-haves. Good quiz, needs lots of preparation. Nugget, few features. New features in Bucket, yes. Takeaway, finally a fully integrated system for business, and it can be done for me. Takeaway, the comprehensiveness of your technology and your training and your support. Takeaway, integration with Facebook, API, Google Analytics, and Zapier. Takeaway, system brings it all together. Takeaway, this is inspiring to have Ryan nearby. Appreciate that, Sergey. Takeaway, Bucket 2.0, it's the most comprehensive funnel. Takeaway, Zurika says, Nugget, next steps. Takeaway, to have it all handled would be great. Takeaway, to build an online digital business takes more than one thing. It takes the right mechanism. Takeaway, I need to take some time to go over all this information. Awesome tech, yes, self-optimizing. Takeaway, sophistication of the software, the done-for-me opportunity, analytics. Takeaway, inside technology and the possibilities. Takeaway, takes care of everything for you. Takeaway, I need your help. Early bird tomorrow. This is huge, says Nancy. How fantastic. Jasmine, I need a quiz funnel. Captain Kirk, flexibility and enormous possibilities. Takeaway, I really need your software and help. I need this software. Takeaway, incredible customization, attainable in the secret sauce. Takeaway, mind-blowing, outstanding, smart, user-friendly, limitless integration, fracture from different platforms. Takeaway, total automation. Takeaway, it sounds like a dream come true. Takeaway, one-stop shop. Mark says, takeaway, holy, I'm not even going to say it out loud, blown away. All right, so let's talk a little bit about next steps and where you go from here. For those of you who want to catch up on any of the training, so today's training, the day 2 training, day 1 training, any of the Q&As, the training is going to be up and available up and through tomorrow at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time. So you've got a little under 24 hours to catch up on anything that you might have missed. Consume it all, go, gob it all up, watch it, read it, consume all of it. When we switch our attention to opening enrollment in our program. Now, we will be opening enrollment during the live early bird session only, and then we close the doors, just to be perfectly clear, we close the doors after that live session, and we as a company are taking Sunday, which is Father's Day in the United States, as a day of rest. It's a day of rest. So we are going to open things up. That's it. Early bird, then we close the doors. That's it. And then next week, we're going to be offering a not quite as good offer, just to be perfectly clear, that opens on Monday. So that's what's happening next. So I encourage you, if you want to go through all the training, go through all the content, do it now between now and 3 p.m. tomorrow, so you've got all that information soaked all up, because tomorrow we're going to be diving right into it and talking about what it's like working together with me, our team, to make this a reality for you. So quizfunnel.com/access is the link to access all the replays until 3 p.m. tomorrow. So that's quizfunnel.com/access to access all the replays. The Q&A sessions are inside the Facebook group, which is quizfunnel.com/Facebook. If you want to rewatch any of the Q&A sessions, that's quizfunnel.com/Facebook. And then from here on out, we're going to be shifting our attention and answering questions and supporting you to make the best decision for you. Because I would love nothing more than to help transform you into the next great quiz funnel success story. I mean, this is what lights me up. If you want to know what I'm powered by, it's not caffeine, it's not even the sun, it's you. This is what I get energy from. It's from hearing the stories of people who private message me and post in our community and say, Ryan, I went through your program and it's changed my life. It's stories like Dana's and Tabitha's and Jamal's and so many of the other stories that you've heard about. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what lights me up. That's what our entire company is all built around. It's all built around these 2 words right here, customer success. My goal is simple. I want to transform you into the next great quiz funnel success story. And that can start for you beginning tomorrow. So I want to invite you one last time, make sure that you are registered at the link quizfunnel.com/earlybird. That's quizfunnel.com/earlybird. We will put the screen back up so you can see exactly what that looks like if you bear with me one second. It's right here, quizfunnel.com/earlybird. Get yourself registered for the training. Again, it kicks off in less than 24 hours from today, and I look forward to seeing you on the training. So with that being said, it's been an absolute pleasure in today's session. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on our session. Take care, talk soon, and see you soon. Goodbye.